Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, geeks of all ages, welcome to another episode of Geek Smack Live, the show where we smack to geek out of you live, and I talk in a high-pitched voice like Billy Mays. You might want to get one of these. It's the iPad, and it's brand new, and it's perfect. It's one of those things you just gotta get. How you doing? My name is Jeffrey Powers. High intensity today as we go. Maybe I'll do a Harry Carey voice. High intensity. How you doing? Jeffrey Powers here. Welcome to Geek Smack, the show where we smack the geek out of you like Apple Smacks live event. Holy Moses on a stick. Can they pack anything else in there? My goodness. Packed it in and threw it out the door. It was crazy. It was crazy what we saw today, but I was expecting it all. The only thing we didn't see was the watch, and I was expecting that to happen. I expected the iPads. I basically said if they didn't put out an iPad mini with Retina display, they'll pretty much ruin the iPad mini genre. So they've done that. They did that. The Mavericks came out today. I expected that to happen today. I didn't expect the MacBook Pros to be coming out today. I need to raise $3,300 to update my MacBook Pro. You got $3,300? I'll borrow it. I'll be your sponsor for a year. Let me be your sponsor. You can run any ideas past me for $300. That's the price that I'll need for that MacBook to run this video. And actually, the best part about it is I'll be able to actually hook up another camera, because right now I have a one camera. I have a one camera plus the USB camera, which is nice. It's an overall shot. But if I wanted to get some really good up close and personal shots, I would need a consumer camera, and I've got, I'm using the Sony PJ710 here, and I have my second Sony like over here. I could do a 2-camera shoot. I could start doing interviews, one-on-one interviews with people, and camera shoots, and do it live and record it right then and there, switching back and forth. I really want to do that. I think it's going to have so much value if I can go back and forth and switch between 1 and 2 and have 2 cameras to do that. But it's going to cost me at least $3,300. Now, I could get a Mac Pro and get like the super power system, which is $3,000 to begin with, and then of course I'll need a monitor and a keyboard, mouse, all that other good stuff. But so $3,300 for a laptop, not a bad idea. But the other thing is the iPads. The new iPads came out, and I am super impressed. I was hoping they'd do what I wanted them to do. They did do what I wanted them to do, and I am going to be first in line for a new iPad, 6th generation iPad Air coming out. Very, very excited about all this that they talked about at this event, and really, really excited. But this is a Geek Smack. We got other news to talk about before we talk about Apple and the smacking that they did on us. First of all, the 5th pair of Google Glass finally showed up last week, and of course, I ran into more customer service issues, and so I talk about that. I talk about that on This Week in Google Glass, which of course you can check out over at thisweekingoogleglass.com or twig.tv, twigg.tv, and find out why I am so down on Google Glass when it comes to customer support. I don't know, is this too loud? I want to check this really, really quick to make sure I'm not blowing out your ears, and because that's why I do this first vlog over on youtube.com/Geekazine, so I can get my levels right. So like I said, it sounds good, and you're not going, oh my god, it's so loud. So let me check really quick. Yeah, I'm a little bit hot. All right, let me. That's probably going to be a little bit better on the sound there. So thank you very much. Yeah, I'm a little bit hot there. That's not good. So anyway, I've lowered the sound. Let's see if that made a difference. Oh, I want the live version. So anyway, I hope you guys are having a great week. I've had a pretty darn good week myself. I'm going to turn it down even more. That's probably too much. Let's try right there. That should be a good happy medium for you all. And I'll check it here in about a minute. Anyway, how y'all doing? It's been a great week here. Like I said, I got my Google Glass. There we go. I got my Google Glass back. It was a fun little thing. We've got Twig, of course, Luke. With Luke Wallace. Next week we're going to be talking with Sarah Hill of Veterans United. Now this is going to be very exciting because she does a lot with veterans. She does a lot with Google Glass. So this should be a great event next Monday. Next Tuesday, however, I am not going to be here. The reason why is because I'm actually going to be speaking at UW Platteville on Google Glass. Now, and it's great opportunity to get in front of the young minds of the next generation and tell them what the importance of Google Glass is, why you're wearing it, so on and so forth. So it's a great opportunity. Unfortunately, everybody wants to do it on the same day that I podcast. It's like every week, it's like, I could have a completely empty week, completely empty schedule, and somebody says, hey, let's get together on Tuesday. It's like, I do a podcast on Tuesday. Oh, let's do this thing on Tuesday. No, I do a podcast on Tuesday. But, there's some things where I'm just going to have to say, okay, I'm going to do that. So probably we'll be doing the live show later on in the day, if not on Wednesday. So I haven't figured that out just yet, whether I'm going to do a late episode or a Wednesday version of Geek Smack. So stick around, but there will be a version coming out because I will be taking off on the so I think it's the third week in November as I go to Arizona for another event, and I'll be covering that as well. So there'll be a lot of video that comes out of that. Hey, did you know about our crowdfund, the tech podcast? Now, I talked about it last week. It's over at TPN. It's tpn.tv/crowdfund. That's the easiest way for me to say it. tpn.tv/crowdfund. And what that does is that'll go over to the Fund Anything site for our TPN live stream at CES 2014. We've got some good backers here. Great start to the thing, but we need your help. We're looking for $5,000, and basically what that is so we can get our crew, which is somewhere to the lines of 25 people that cover the event, to be part of the event. Now, what happens? The 25 people are camera people, are talent like myself and the other guys, are the people that are actually putting the schedules together for our live stream. So we have people coming on every 10 minutes and they find out where they are, if they're showing up to their time slot, if they need to reschedule or anything like that. It's also photographers, so they can take pictures, and of course some of the bloggers. This year I'm hoping this crowdfund will help me get a couple people to help me put the posts together. It is a daunting task to do 300 posts in under 30 days. And last year, I literally had to stop at a point. I was at like 120 videos, and I just ran out of time. I couldn't get the other ones up there simply because of the fact I had regular other things that I needed to do, and so I had to stop early. But that's the importance of that. So it's to get people to help us get this content out, because it's got such a short lifespan in certain aspects. And we got to get the content out. You got to get as much content as you can. So that's the two parts: is we get the crew to gather the content, and then we get the crew to post the content. And that's where this money comes in. So if you can check it out, tpn.tv/crowdanything. Or I'm sorry, crowdfund. It's over on Fund Anything, which is a crowdfund for I guess Donald Trump is the backer of Fund Anything. So tpn.tv/crowdfund, and of course you can start at $10, but with $25 you get the T-shirt, and hopefully that will be a good thing for you, enticement for you guys to be part of that. So All right, what else is going on here on the pre-show? You're on the pre-show. If you didn't realize, you are on the pre-show of the show. Lots of things. Like I said, the crowdfund's happening. I've been on hiatus now. Like I said, I get busy at times. I'm doing some videos here. I'm doing some videos here. I got to put it all together. So iPad 365 has kind of been on hiatus. I've got to do an episode now. They came out with some new iPads, so I got to talk about that. The new apps, 64-bit technology and tablets, unbelievable. I can't wait for that to happen. And so we'll be doing that. So like I said, next week I won't be here. I'll be speaking about Google Glass and going from there. So that's basically it in a nutshell on what's going on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a drink of my water. And this is actually, if you've ever, you know how they have the Mios and stuff like that? I just basically take some water and I get the Soda Stream stuff and you get the Kool-Aid version and you don't even put in a teaspoon. You put in a little bit and it's enough to have cherry flavored water. And I love it. Just my little hack tweak, whatever you want to call it, that I do to keep me sane in the membrane. And of course, I'm not drinking soda. Last time I had soda, I think I have a Mountain Dew every now and then. And of course, I had soda when we were playing last Saturday with the band. We actually had a guest singer, Brianna Hardiman, and she sang we were at a downtown place called The Brink. It was awesome, and we had a lot of fun with it. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to do that with her again. So, but anyway, not drinking soda. I'm drinking this, which is like a lot less sugar and a lot less calories, and hopefully it's helping with keep my hips in check, my waist in check, and my butt in check. Because we want to keep my butt in check. My butt in check. Button. Anyway. So what's going to happen now is you're going to see this screen for about a second as I prepare the main show, and then of course we'll go straight into this show. We're going to be talking Microsoft Windows 8.1. We're going to be talking about the Nokia and some apps that's coming out. An app that actually turns the Nokia into a Lytro type camera. That's pretty cool. Of course, Japan's discontinuing the Wii because it's time to do so. Facebook fail that happened this last week. Samsung's new Protection Plus is actually pretty cool, and I think a lot of electronic companies should start adopting this, especially with my iPhone fiasco. If I would have had this, I wouldn't be so in dire need of a smartphone right now. So, and of course, we're going to talk about the Apple event, Apple iPad 5, now called Apple iPad Air, Mavericks, MacBooks, and Mac Pros. All of it on the show. So stick around. Here we go. This is Geek Smack, episode number 280 for the week of, what is week is? It's October 22nd, 2013. So let's get started with Geek Smack.
This is the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, geeks of all ages, Jeffrey Powers here. Welcome to Geek Smack, the show where we smack the geek out of you like Apple smacks the iPad out of me. And also, Smack's probably going to smack about $4,000 out of me when it's all said and done. We're going to talk about the Apple iPad event. Hey, look, new iPads. Hey, look, new Mavericks. And a whole bunch more. We've got a lot of great stuff. We got more than just Apple stuff. Of course, you've probably heard it all but we're going to talk about it again. We're also going to talk about the Facebook fail, the Nokia tablet that came out, and how Nokia's got an app that works just like Lytro. And we're also going to talk about Samsung's Protection Plus, the 8.1 ISO disc, and how you can put that together, and a whole bunch more. This is Geek Smack, episode number 280 for October 22nd, 2013. Let's smack the geek out of you right now. Hey everybody, Jeffrey Powers here. Welcome to Geek Smack, the show where we smack the geek out of you like Apple smacked the geek out of the iPad. Was it not a great keynote or not? And I'm wondering if it's because of the fact that I actually got to see the keynote that I I was happy about that and more excited about it, as opposed to when they don't do the keynote online. And then you got to hear from, from these online blogs and say, oh yeah, it's got a new iPhone. Yeah, it's got a fingerprint sensor. But it was like, yeah, we've got a new iPad. We've got a new MacBook. We got a new MacBook Pro, and it's awesome. It's awesome. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what's happening in that space. Really quick, if you go over to youtube.com/Geekazine, you'll get to see the live version of it, which we do every single Tuesday usually at about 2 p.m. Eastern time. Of course, this one's a little bit later because there was an Apple event smack dab in the middle of my show. So just let them finish it up and go on from there. And of course, you would have heard, this is my 5th pair of Google Glass, finally came back, talk about my woes with their customer support. Also talk about Twig this week in Google Glass over at twigg.tv. You can find out more, and you can hear about my rants and raves about Google Glass and then all the cool stuff using Glass as a point of sales and actually making purchases using your Glass. That's what we talked about this week. And then next week, we're going to have Sarah Hill from Veterans United. Awesome show next week. I know of it. So speaking of shows, there's going to be no show next week of Geek Smack at this time because I will be speaking at the UW Platteville about Google Glass. I'm thinking of actually doing the show a little bit later today, or later that Tuesday, or the following Wednesday. So keep in the Google Plus schedule. That's how you do it, the Google Plus line, to find out where, when, why, how, and who, what, not, what, and everything else. So let's see. I didn't talk about this on the live, but I'm going to talk about it right now. This little thing right here. This is the Fitbug Orb. Orb. And this is the latest fitness from Fitbug, which I believe they're a UK-based company. And they sent it to me, and I'm actually testing, seeing how bad I do in not exercising and eating and even sleeping by wearing this. And I'm going to wear it for a week, and then I'm going to talk about it on the Geekazine, the special media feed, and go from there. Of course, the crowdfund. I want to talk about this for a second here. If you go over to tpn.tv/crowdfund, tpn.tv/crowdfund, we kickstarted our crowdfund last week. And of course, we're at a great level here. We got about $370 right now. We're looking for $5,000, so it's right on track there. Got a couple updates in there, but of course, this gets the people that we need to CES, Consumer Electronics Show. We've done this. This is our 4th year in a row that we're doing this, and we're planning it again. Trying to get 25 people into CES at one time. It's a big bill. So we're looking for about $5,000 to cover air, hotel, taxi rides, and anything else. So please check it out, tpn.tv/crowdfund. It's over on Fund Anything, which is Donald Trump's version of crowdfunding. So, and it's a great thing. And the best part is whatever you donate, you get. And what we get, and everything starts at about $10. $25, you get that TPN I'm a Backer t-shirt, which is awesome. We took some good time to put it all together, and of course the levels go from there. You can cover our taxi rides, our hotel rooms, even airfare for one of the members, and that's over at tpn.tv/crowdfund. All right, that's pretty much it on there. Like I said, I talked about the show, so let's get into the show for this week. And of course, this part is brought to you by our friends over at GoDaddy. A few weeks ago when they made the changes and they got out of all the little kitschy things and the and big women and everything like that, and actually started focusing on small to medium businesses. I was really impressed. I was really happy that GoDaddy decided to take this new direction. Small and medium business. It's all about what domain names are about. I mean, you start off with a small to medium business. Microsoft was a small to medium business at one time. Apple was a small medium business one time. And of course, your business is also a small to medium business right now. And you get to the next level, you need to have a website. You need to have domain hosting. You need to have an SSL certificate. You need to have somewhere to sell your products online. And that's what GoDaddy's all about. Domains, hosting, SSL certificates, the best customer support out there when it comes to problems. Whenever I have a problem, I give them a call up and I say, hey, we need to get this fixed. We work on it and get it done. Especially last year or earlier this year when I had some major website problems. My websites weren't loading up, and I went back and forth on there, and we had customer support. I was talking to them almost every day, trying to get this all figured out. So lots of cool stuff. You can get yourself 35% off. Use that code WOWAZINE for 35% off, and of course you can get some great stuff over at GoDaddy.com. All right, we're going to start over at Mashable.com. Facebook has suffered a site-wide error for many users. They tried to post up, and they basically would get Facebook is experiencing errors, and so they were not able to do any posts or like posts or anything. They could see some of they could see some of Facebook, but they couldn't do much. It was up for a little bit, and now it's back up. But yeah. Is here and gone. They had an update. They basically said that they were able to get back in, and I think Facebook said something about error servers. That's probably what it is. Servers, and now we got it fixed, so it really doesn't matter anymore. So if you want to read more about that, go over to Mashable.com for that article. Google has decided, hey, we're going to help some of your at-risk sites. So what they're doing is they are trying to fight hackers who would knock any services off the web. So what they on Monday they announced a company that would offer free protection for websites called Distributed of Denial of Service. It's cyber attacks. So basically, what would happen? Let's say I'd say something, and usually it's an aggravated type of situation. So I'd say something that gets everybody talking. And it gets it to the point where it's like, what are you doing? So these groups then see that and go, okay, well, we're going to knock them off the internet by doing a denial of service attack. So what they do is they just start pounding the website, and hopes that by doing that they basically freeze up my hosting plan and use up all my bandwidth and everything like that, so my site is offline. And then, therefore, my content, my voice has been pretty much squelched. So Google's offering this new service that will flood them with junk traffic. Will basically keep them from flooding with junk traffic that goes to you, so your websites do stay up. I think it's a great idea, and they're able to do that, and I'm really happy for them, because that's the worst thing. You're working really hard to try and do something, and you just say something, and it doesn't jive with all of the population of the world, but it's still your opinion, and you still should be able to express it at points. So pretty cool stuff. I'm really happy. Congratulations, and I'm really glad that Google is stepping forward on that and helping keep those websites up, because earlier this year, my friend Adria, she went through that issue with the at the conference, and her websites ended up getting denial of service attacks, and so this would be perfect situation for that, because whether you like or hate what somebody says about something, it's not your choice to take down their website. And that's just wrong, period. Doesn't matter who you are, what you do. So anyway, if you want to read more on that, go over to Forbes.com. Thanks to Google for helping that here. This is really interesting. We're over at CNET. Now, a couple years ago, during that whole Yahoo microglogla thing, anyway, whatever it's called. Of course, at that time, Carol Bartz was the CEO of Yahoo. And she decided, well, we don't really want to be in the search game anymore for Yahoo. It's more about our business apps, less about the search now. So they put together a partnership, a 10-year partnership with Microsoft and Bing. And everybody was going, wow, I can't believe that just happened after this whole bid thing just happened, and now they just pretty much sold out the search. Well, now Carol Bartz is gone, and I can't remember who was in the interim. He's gone, and now Marissa Meyer's here. And I don't think she's really caring too much for this partnership. So this is over on CNET. She's basically stalling or breaking her wheels. I can't remember the term right offhand. But she's dragging her heels. That's the best term on this partnership to try and get things working again. There were some court filings released on Monday that Marissa Mayer had allegedly been trying to put the brakes on the partnership. Yahoo said it wants to put the deal on hold until it can talk to Microsoft's new CEO. So basically, they're saying, we're not happy with Ballmer leaving, and I'm and of course the rest of the board saying she's a different CEO going in a different direction, and so we're backing her on that, and it's totally understandable. And she's saying, I don't see this partnership working for the next 10 years. I don't think it's a great partnership for Yahoo to be in, and I think we need to relook at this now that new management is here at Yahoo, and new management will be coming to Microsoft. So we'll see what happens here. If you want to check out anything, like I said, it's over on cnet.com, where you can get that information. All right, let's move on from there. Let's go over, we got a couple articles about Nokia. First of all, is over at the Wall Street Journal. Nokia has unveiled its first tablet, the Nokia Lumia 2520 tablet. It comes with a 10-inch screen, runs Windows RT, special version of Microsoft's Windows 8 operating system, or is it going to be 8 or 8.1? It's probably going to be 8.1 once they get it all released. Now, here's the problem with tablets and phones running Windows 8, like Nokia right here. They will probably hold off on an 8.1 release until they can get into the OEM version and make the adjustments for their tablets and phones. So it's probably sitting on Windows 8 operating system right now. But I'm guessing that it will be at 8.1 once you finally get it into your hands, or if not, a week after. So, and this is Nokia's first attempt at a tablet. So it looks pretty impressive when it comes to a tablet for Windows, and especially the RT, which has been really not doing too well in the market. A lot of people don't like the RT tablet. And even with the new RT tablet, they're not 100% here. They launched Nokia launched 3 models priced under $100 using their Asha line of mobile phones. Oh, their basic Asha line of mobile phones. So you'll be able to get a tablet. I don't know if that's $100 for the tablet. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it'll be a couple $100. They're expected to ship them out, and of course, they're hoping that everything will grow. If you want to read more on this, we've got the article over at WSJ.com. You can go there to take a look at it. Moving over to The Verge, Netflix has been reported to overtake. They have over 40 million subscribers, which they believe has overtaken HBO in paid subscribers in the United States. This is big. This tells us, now last week I talked about Netflix and them trying to get into the cable arena. But this literally just basically says that maybe they don't need to get into the cable arena. Where they are right now is doing the job, and they're at 40 million. I think they were expected to hit 50 million, so they might not have reached their numbers. If I remember correctly from what I read last week, they might not have reached those numbers, and they were hoping that maybe cable TV would make them reach those numbers. But if that's the case, do what you do to make money, I suppose. Netflix, and once again, Netflix two years ago, during the Quickster debacle, who would have thunk that Netflix could have come back from that whole thing and actually been better? Back in September, they topped their highest stock price, and now they're at something like 300 or something like that on stock. So crazy stuff. If you want to check out more on that, go over to theverge.com. Going back over, well, we're going over to geek.com, going and talking about Nokia again. I guess there's a Nokia called the Lumina 1520. And apparently with an app, you can actually, and they have it here on the page. Let me scroll down to it. With this app, you can actually turn it into like a Litro camera. Now, if you don't remember what a Litro camera is, basically it was that camera that would take a near picture and a far picture. So then you would then go to a special app and you could press on anywhere on the picture and it would refocus for that area. So if you wanted to focus on the flower in the foreground, everything else would blur. If you wanted to focus on the window in the background, the flower would blur. And they have an example up here. This is taken from the 1520. As you can see, a nice colorful wall and backdrop. If I press here, of course, that's going to focus right in on the front here, and the back got blurred. If I focus back on the sign, of course, the front gets blurred, and of course, if we go right in the middle, everything is going to be halfway. You're going to see this middle area get nice and cleared up. Of course, if you're listening to it, you're going, what are you talking about, focusing, not focusing? But of course, this is on the video version. So if you want to play with that, that's over at geek.com. We'll have the link in the show notes. All you have to do is go over to geekazine.com and subscribe to those show notes. If you haven't subscribed to the show notes, please do so, because that'll get all your content right to your email box. All right, let's move on from there. Let's go over to joystick.com. It's time to say goodbye to the Wii. Of course, Nintendo moving on. They've decided to, in Japan, discontinue the Wii. So if you really want a Nintendo Wii, you can buy the one that's sitting in my living room. Unfortunately, that's Jennifer's, so I can't really sell it. But maybe it comes with some cool the controllers and the board and stuff like that. So if you want to buy that, but you could probably go over to your local GameStop and get one for $50 anyway. So it's a sad day as the Wii is getting discontinued, as bigger and better game systems are coming out, and we got more, and now it's time for the Wii to go away. A Wii. Is that a Wii? Anyway, we're gonna go away. We're going to go away for a second, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to get some more tech information, and then we're going to go away again, and then we're going to talk about Apple and all the cool things that came out from the Apple keynote, including new iPads called iPad Air, and of course Mavericks and all that. And we will do that. We will be right back. This is Geek Smack episode number 280. And of course, this part of Geek Smack is brought to you by my other website called Day in Tech History over at www.dayintechhistory.com. Of course, if you go there, you get a full rundown of technology history at its best. And of course, today in Tech History, what happened in Today in Tech History? The page isn't loading up. I should know these things right off the top of my head. Yeah, I know, but there's a lot of tech history. Today, on October 22nd of 2009, Windows 7 and Server 2008 R2 was released. Of course, it went out to, and of course, Windows 7 I was really happy with. I did update to Windows 8, and it was okay. 8.1, a little bit better. But the desktop here is still on Windows 7. I'm really happy about that. But this is the type of information you find out over on Day in Tech History. Let me call up the webpage. It's just all in a blog, and of course podcast. You can check everything out for that, including the International Ad Hoc Committee is formed, Sega releasing the net modem, and a whole bunch more. And then the day before, October 21st, Wang patent of magnetic ferrite core memory. This is what we started to use for memory, and what we had in machines for many, many years. Even today's memory is based on this magnetic ferrite core memory. So pretty cool stuff. If you want to check it all out, go over to dayintechhistory.com, www.dayintechhistory.com, and find it all out there. All right, let's get back into your Geek Smack tech in here. Samsung is adding a Protection Plus plan, which a lot of people are believing it's going to cover a lot for there. So if you've got a Samsung, it basically lets you protect your scope of Samsung, providing extended warranties, consumer electronic products and appliances. So it's more than just phones. Whatever you have that's Samsung. And of course, I don't know if that's going to include theft. And I'm really hoping, because I'm going to tell you something. If there was a plan inside of my Apple device, my Apple iPhone for theft protection, all you have to do is file a police report, and you could get a new iPhone. I would have signed up for that. But it didn't happen, and so I had to figure out what I was going to do for my next smartphone, because it was $550 to replace my iPhone, and still $550 to replace my iPhone until September of next year, when it'd be $200. And of course, with all these AT&T, I'm on AT&T. They now have the AT&T Now, which lets me get an iPhone for something like $30 a month extra on my bill. And it also means I have to have two phone lines, which is crazy. I don't want two phone. I'm not happy about that. But if I had a device and somebody stole it, it would be nice to actually have protection on it. And then there's companies out there that protect. Like we talk to Worth Avenue Group every year at CES, where you can throw a few dollars a month down, and so if somebody steals your iPad, your iPhone, you can get another one. So I should have done that, and I'd still have an iPhone. But hey, that's the way that the cookie crumbles. What can you do? But this is actually pretty cool. And like I said, this is more than just your phones. This could be your TVs. This could be tablets. This could be whatever devices that Samsung puts out there. So if you want to check out more, go over to AndroidCommunity.com for that information. I'm not a big fan of ISO peer-to-peer networkings because they kind of hide behind freedom of information and say, yeah, you need that illegal copy of Grand Theft Auto or whatnot. Well, there was a company called ISO Hunt, and they were under some legal issues. And so they decided, well, let's just shut down before these legal issues start to come to head and we start to see jail time and major fines. So they decided to do that, but then they realized there was a company called Archive Team, which basically archived the internet. They were going to get into ISO Hunt and start archiving ISO Hunt. So they decided, hey, before we actually have somebody have a whole bunch of proof of what we're doing here, let's just shut down the system a day early. So that's what they did. They shut down the whole site, and they said, we're shutting down ISO Hunt services a little early. I'm told there was this internet archival team that wants to make a historical copy of our torrent files. I'm honored that people think that our site is worth historical preservation, but the truth is about 95% of those torrent files can be found off Google regardless, and mostly have been indexed from other BitTorrent sites in the first place. So I might as well let me pop this up here really quick. So I might as well do a proper send-off to you, dear ISO Hunt users, before the final shutdown sequence on Tuesday. It's been an adventure in the last 10.5 years working on ISO Hunt. So ISO Hunt has shut down. So if you're looking, if you've been using the ISO Hunt, you got to look for something else. Now, I'm a fan of peer-to-peer networks. Don't get me wrong, but when they start using it for moving files illegally, I have a problem with that. And I'd love to have a peer-to-peer network where I could get all the free stuff, all the downloads, the programs that I could download for free, or movies that are out of copyright or anything like that. I'd love to get that, but it just all of a sudden it's like malware comes into play and spyware comes into play, and somebody's trying to push up their copy of Carrie or something like that, and next thing you know, it's just completely destroyed. And it's sad for peer-to-peer because it'd be a great way to move free files around, but it's just, yeah, it's plagued with the underworld, and I hate that. I hate that. But what can you do? So anyway, check that out. Let's move on from there. Let's go over to Gadget Help Online. We're going back to Windows Phone 8. Apparently, Vine, Instagram, and Flipboard are all coming to Windows Phone 8, which is great. Maybe they'll come to my version of Windows Phone as well. A new company announcing 2 new smartphones. Of course, Nokia, the Lumia 2520. They'll have some great apps to do that, and of course, Vine. Vine is Twitter's 6-second video option. Instagram, of course, you can take pictures and change them. So it looks like something that came from the 70s or something like that. And then Flipboard. I use Flipboard all the time on my iPad. It's news right there. Kind of, you just flip from page to page. Awesome apps, and so they'll be well received on a Windows Phone 8. So we'll see what happens there. Hopefully, I'll be able to get a couple of those apps on my Windows Phone, especially Flipboard. I'd be really happy about that. But if you want to read more on that, go over to gadgethelpline.com. And of course, we'll have the link in the show notes. And of course, if you have any questions about what I talk about, you can Twitter me over at Geekazine or geekazine@gmail.com. So that's pretty much it. Let's move on from there. We're going over to neowin.net. Windows 8.1 came out. Of course, I had loaded it on my desktop. Really happy that Start button is back, although it brings up the Metro screen instead of bringing up a display that I'm used to. But I guess I'm used to the Metro screen now. So it's trying to merge everything together a little bit slower than before. So downloaded, and it wasn't bad. The first time I actually downloaded, it errored out. The second time, it errored out again. But the third time was a charm. And now I have Windows 8.1 on my machine. Not much, got some extra features on it. And but other than that, not much different than a Windows 7. So if you've got a Windows 7, I don't know if upgrading to 8.1 is going to be the deciding factor just yet. So especially since you got to pay $119 for that upgrade. I got to upgrade for free, so I chose to. And of course, Apple talking about we're tired of charging people for upgrades. So we'll see what happens there on their upgrade. So, but anyway, if you go over to neowin.net, if you need to create an 8.1 ISO stick, which is basically a standard install. So if you go from computer to computer, IT administrators usually create ISOs. So basically, they what you would do is you would load up Windows onto one machine, that a standard machine that almost everybody has, and then you put in your little bits and pieces, and then you create what's called a package, and then ISO it, set it up as an ISO. So all you have to do is go to the next computer. The ISO would sit on a network drive, and then you'd run a couple commands, and then of course that would wipe the computer clean and put on the new version of Windows without you there having to sit there and press next, put in serial number, next, and so on and so forth. So it shows you how to do the 8.1 ISO stick. So if you need that information, you can go over to neowin.net and get that. And of course, like I said, in the show notes will be a link to that. Finally, this is actually pretty cool. It's a YouTube video, so I won't be showing it. I'll just show the front screen here. Basically, this guy took iOS 7 and the front screen, iPhone, I believe, version, and he recreated it on Microsoft Word. And which is really cool. It's a long video, so it would be nice if there was like a 2x speed on there. But I just kind of skipped forward. It's about 10 minutes long. But he just basically takes shapes and colors and creates iOS 7 right from Microsoft Word. Great little video to check out. So if you want to check it out, go from there. And that does bring us to the end of the Geek Smack section of Geek Smack. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about what's going on in Apple. Of course, there was a big event that happened today, and I watched it, and I was blown away by what we saw here. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what we saw, what works, what you should expect in Mac Pro, in MacBook Pro, of course, Mavericks, and then, of course, the new iPads coming out. iPad Air is what it's called. And we will do that next. You are watching Geek Smack. It's more than just 750 channels that the Roku can offer that gives you all that content. Each channel can have sub-channels in it, so you can have tens of thousands of hours of video watching and game playing out of your Roku. And prices only start at $49.99. Of course, the Roku 3 for $99.99, and of course you can get the games, you get the game remote as well, and then the privacy mode where you can plug in your headphones right in the remote. That's perfect for when your partner is sleeping, but you want to watch something on TV. Lots of great stuff from Angry Birds to Amazon to Hulu, and of course the Tech Podcast channel. Let me show you this really quick. This is how you get to some of the content from Geekazine on the Tech Podcast channel. You just go into the Tech Podcast video, and you're going to go into Tech News, and you're going to find like the special events, iPad 365, Geek Smack, and a whole bunch more. A lot of other tech podcast shows right on that Roku for you, right at your fingertips, right through the remote. And then, of course, you can get your Netflix, you can get your Amazon, you can get your Hulu just as easy, and many more channels. PBS, we've got Redbox Instant, TV Guide, Sci-Fi Channel, and much more. Check it out. It's all over at Roku. Remember, geekazine.com/Roku. Of course, that helps me keep the lights on for all my shows. Thank you very much. And go over where streaming is made simple. In the last 6 to 8 months, many Apple fanboys have been concerned about their computers not cutting it for process and wondering if Apple was actually going to do something about it. I know of one group that actually switched to PCs because Macs didn't have the compute power. Well, now that might have changed a little bit. Apple announced some new MacBook Pros available today. The Mac Pro, which is that canister-sized computer, is coming in December. Lowered prices with a $2,999 tag for Mac Pro and $1,599 for MacBook Pro. Although the MacBook Pro I would need to actually do things like this show will probably cost me around $3,200. Some other things that Apple showed off, the iPhoto, iMovie, and GarageBand got some great updates with their new Mavericks operating system. And, of course, iOS 7 also getting new versions of these softwares. Speaking of Mavericks, it will be available today and be available for all MacBooks and iMacs as old as 2007. So you don't need to get a brand new MacBook to get Mavericks, which is really great. iMovie will allow you to use that iPhone 5S 120 frame per second video to slow down some shots. And of course, they've got a new interface for that as well. GarageBand will get 32-track ability and also the ability to go from your iPad to your desktop, which is something that I've really wanted to see happen. You use iCloud to transfer the files. New sound library and a drummer with a little bit that has a little bit of idea of how the drum track's supposed to go with fills and everything like that, and you can change that all on the fly. iWork also got an update. Pages, Numbers, Keynote added new ideas and effects to bring your content to life. Use on an iPad and finish on a Mac, I'm just amazed that they finally figured that one out. Even iWork for iCloud got updated with the one thing that everybody's been asking for, collaboration. You can work on a Mac or a PC through the iCloud iWork, and it's all free to do. Finally, iPad, the biggest thing everybody's been talking about, with 81% of the market using iPads, according to Tim Cook, compared to 19% of all other tablets. And number one customer satisfaction, the iPad is apparently the tablet to have. It's thinner, it's lighter, and more powerful than ever before, with a smaller bezel at 43%, 7.5 millimeters thin, and weighs only 1 pound as opposed to 1.43, which the fourth generation iPad was. The A7 chip is going to be inside the same chip that was in the iPhone 5S, bringing 64-bit technology to the iPad. It's also going to have that M7 chip, which is perfect for medical apps. It's perfect for other apps, so it produces the power and still computes just like this laptop or this laptop right here. Sorry, no fingerprint sensor, though. But they do have Wi-Fi MIMO technology, which means multiple antennas. So, you can actually catch a Wi-Fi signal even if you're at the farthest reaches of that Wi-Fi signal. Dual microphones are also included for capturing sound, so if you need to ask Siri a question, it'll be able to do that. But of course, it'll also work great for if you're doing some sort of video and using the microphones from the iPad. The only downside I see for the iPad, it's still got the same 5 megapixel camera that it had in the 4th generation. And it doesn't match the 5S's 8 megapixel camera with the slow-mo technology and the 2.2 aperture. Also, it does not have the backside illumination sensor. It has backside illumination, but doesn't have that ability to change it to a smooth or a cooler setting or a harsher setting, a white light versus a yellow light, basically. So the iPhone will still do way better in pictures and video, and you're just going to have to wait for the next version of the iPad, I suppose. I also said that iPad mini would needed to get an upgrade, or else the consumers will pretty much have been disappointed with the iPad and probably would have written it off at that point. Apple did see that too, and even though a lot of people were saying, well, they're not ready to put out a Retina version of the iPad mini, that's why they actually put out the Retina version of the iPad mini. Retina display, desperately needed, also has the A7 chip, but no M7 chip, which could affect some corporate sales because I could see an iPad mini perfect for a nurse or something like that. If they don't have the M7 chip, it doesn't work as well, so they'll probably go with regular iPads. Wi-Fi, MIMO, and the exact same camera specs are also in the iPad mini. Now, iPad got some new cases, backing cases, and of course the cases to put your iPad into. You can get them in silver, you can get them in white, space gray, and black. iPad Air prices won't change. They start at $499 for 16 gigabyte Wi-Fi, and the shipping will start on November 1st. You can also order them, but that'll also be on November 1st as well. The iPad mini will cost $399 as opposed to their $329 version, the previous version, and ship later in November. Of course, you can still get the first generation iPad mini now for only $299. So the question is it worth an upgrade? Well, MacBook Pro, for me, it's a 2-year-old MacBook Pro, so most likely I'm going to have to figure out a way to do some upgrading here. Unless Mavericks can keep me satisfied and keep you satisfied with what you're doing. The Mac Pro, if you need a powerful system, that is it. And with everything in it, from the flash memory, they say that it's as quiet as a Mac Mini. So you could actually have it on your desk and do sound recording without having fans going crazy. Even with this MacBook Pro, the fans are going a little bit crazy right now. The iPad, well, yeah, the 64-bit technology is basically going to make older models of iPads obsolete. I don't know how quick that'll happen, but it will eventually. And ultimately, I would have to figure about $4,000 for me to upgrade all my systems, because I'd have to get a $3,200 version of the MacBook Pro. I already priced it out. And then, of course, $600, I'll get a 32-gigabyte model iPad, because I have so many apps that I review for my show, iPad 365. So that'll cost me another $600. So about $4,000 altogether for me to do some upgrades. I suppose it could be more, especially if I've got a new iPhone. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Did you enjoy the keynote or not? What do you think? Is the MacBook Pro something that you want to get? Is the Mac Pro something you want to get? Excuse me, my nose is starting to itch like crazy. Let me know. Twitter me over at Geekazine. Of course, geekazine@gmail.com is the email address. And check it all out there. All right, well, that does it for this week's episode of Geek Smack. I hope we smacked the geek out of you properly. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me at these. And, of course, the phone number is 608-205-4378. My name is Jeffrey Powers. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for listening. Of course, like I said, next week I'll figure out the time, but I'll have a different time for the live version of Geek Smack, because I will be speaking at a college to talk to kids about the Google Glass, and I'll be doing that next week. So we'll see you next week, a little bit later in the day. But until then, you guys take care. Smack the geek out of whatever you do in your life, and we'll see you next week. Take care. All right, and that's this episode of Geek Smack Live. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening. If you're at your desk or you're checking things out and going from there. Of course, like I said, we do this show every single week on YouTube over at youtube.com/Geekazine. You can go over there and check it all out and go from there. So let me, there we go. Yep, hit the wrong button. So thanks a lot for watching. We will see you next time, next week. Like I said, live version is going to be a little bit later. I'll get you, just watch my Google Plus profile, and you'll get times and days of when I do it. Maybe I'll do it early Wednesday morning or late Tuesday night. We'll see what happens. Maybe even late Monday night. We'll do an early version. We'll see what happens. So until then, no, it's all really all depends on what the news is going to be like for the week. So until then, you guys geek out and take care.